validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt up on the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher constantly, making my own climb. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. Whoa. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield. Standing on higher ground, where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds. Raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision. Cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield. To mediocrity and chaos, I will never yield.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. It is a very interesting Sunday night. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Also, if you have the opportunity to, you can always want to dive in and join that membership. Remember that we are live 7 nights a week, 9 Eastern. That's the old times. We are actually 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Central, and 7 o'clock California time. While California is still burning to the ground, it has swung south, so it is still on the burn. They did control the northbound burn, but they've also increased the death toll by 4, so now they're at 28 instead of 24, and there is thousands upon thousands of acres of additional burnt land. So we are still monitoring that as we go along for the year. We also have tomorrow's show where we're going to be going over as many as we can of Donald Trump's executive orders, because we have about a 2-hour window that we're going to be trying to run it all in. We have some back-to-back clients that I have the 2 hours after the show starts, so I'm going to have to limit the show on Monday, but that does not change the fact that I will pick up where I left off later in the week. So either on Tuesday or Thursday, not Tuesday or Thursday, either on Tuesday or Wednesday, I will finish the executive order list if I did not finish the executive order list on Monday, and then we will go over all of the different things that he has added this year that will affect us in some way, shape, or form, how it will affect us in some way, shape, or form, and then what we're going to do to move forward. So as we are on tonight's Sunday night members only, that's open to the public, we are doing reactions to the questions and comments that the fans have on the podcast. And we will be putting our best judgments in there. If you guys would like to comment in real time, you can click that link, approve the mic, approve the camera. It'll bring you into our green room, and then we'll be able to bring you onto the show if you're over the age of 18, and you can say what you want to say in real time. Otherwise, you can make your comments in the comment section as long as they're reasonably appropriate. As you've seen yesterday, you can disagree. I have no problem with trolls. You just got to keep your comments up reasonably appropriate. If they start getting a little out of hand, then I'll have to do something about it. The on-topic comments and some of the ones that are not so much on-topic comments, those will be put up on the screen for right now at the moment, and we will be able to address everybody's comments. So if you are on Twitch and or Twitter, you can also comment, and you guys will be able to see each other's comments from Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Because while TikTok is still currently back, it is a temporary limbo scenario. There was approximately 75 to 90 days of negotiations. And if Donald Trump can get the top 1% of the U.S. to invest in TikTok, where 50% ownership of TikTok will be U.S. investors, then we will still have TikTok, and TikTok will be a permanent thing after March. But as it stands right now, the ban started on the 19th, and there's a 75-day delay on the ban, which puts it out to about the third or fourth week of March, because it's going to be 2 months and 2 weeks delay from the 19th of December, which is about 19th of January, which is about 2 weeks into January. So that means that likely between the 1st and 5th of April, if they do not agree to move the company over to 50% ownership with the U.S., then of course we will no longer have access to TikTok. There are still people that are moving over to, I do believe that's called Red Flag, that is also owned by ByteDance, and they're swearing loyalty to the Chinese government and all this other nonsense that's going on with that particular website. I don't know. I'm not objective with putting my podcast over there and streaming if TikTok is not here, because I get a whole bunch of fans from China once they realize that we are live on YouTube, because we talk about how awesome Asia is on a regular basis. So, it's whatever. Tonight, though, since we're talking about what's going on, the crazy things that's happening with the fans, make sure that you guys pay attention, because as they get ridiculous, we will get more in-depth and enthusiastic responses. So pay attention and enjoy what we've got going on here.
People don't just say they got hammered on Thursday anymore. It's always, yeah, we got super drunk. Probably we shouldn't have. On the plus side, we've been really good at cutting back in alcohol this past month. We definitely should take it easier in the future. There's this really cool podcast that I listen to that explains the psychological mechanism of drinking, and it's like that with everything. This kind of self-analysis or improvement discourse has completely taken over observation, rumination, even normal discussion of events. I get so excited now whenever someone has anything remotely
I can tell you that it is actually very curious that everybody is more intelligent these days. Common knowledge is not common anymore, and that's why this podcast is here, to bring common knowledge back. Most of us are college bred because bachelor degrees have become common since everybody is driven to go to college. Not everybody is a high school dropout, where the elites are high school diplomas. Now the elites have master's degrees and sometimes 2 or 3 PhDs. So the base level of common education is college bound. So we're not just unknowledgeable, we're just trifling. In a country where individuals have the ability to do better because you recognize that you're messing up, but you choose to mess up, and then you self-analyze how you messed up, but you don't make any changes. That's what we talk about on the podcast, that we in America have to change because we understand that things aren't right a lot of the times. We allow things to not be right. We sometimes complain about how things aren't right, but while we know that it is our decision-making process or our ability to allow other people's decision-making process to set the standard of our levels of dissatisfaction, we do not have the motivation to make positive change towards our own individual success in order for us to not be dissatisfied with the environment that we live in. So while I would love an intelligent conversation, and I definitely encourage those individuals who like to have intelligent conversations to jump into the podcast and drop comments, even if you don't agree with what I have to say, I am going to tell you, I enjoy the intelligent conversations, but then I ask myself, if the common individual, the average individual, has the smarts to do better, why are you so trifling that you don't have the motivation to do better? Why do we have the knowledge to be successful, but we don't put forth any effort to be successful? We have good strategy and business mindsets, but we're wasteful with our spending. We have fantastic ideas and patent pending thought processes, but we only are willing to work for somebody else so that we don't have responsibility for maintaining our own individual success. Why? And then we wonder why we're never satisfied with the way life is. So I enjoy those conversations, the ones where we're talking about growing and improving. But I'm disappointed at the people I'm having conversations with because they're not actually willing to make change. They're just talking about how change is needed. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one because we got a few of these today.
Is to say,
here's how I dated better in my 30s than in my 20s. In my experience, dating in my 30s felt a bit different than it did after getting out of relationships in my mid to later 20s. My social circles were a bit smaller, my free time was limited, and the annoying societal and familial pressure to settle down was, and still is, to some extent lurking. But when I really sat down to think about it, I realized that dating in my 30s didn't need to be harder, it's better. I was trying really hard to not just mindlessly swipe and hope. I've got life experience, self-awareness, and boundaries to make connections that I actually feel really proud of. Here's some more thoughts. Feel free to counter them however you'd like. You know who you are. In your 20s, dating can feel like trying to fit into someone else's world. Now, you've done the work to figure out what you stand for and what you value. Confidence comes naturally when you know yourself, and confidence is magnetic. You don't tolerate the BS. I'm fortunate to have only been ghosted twice in my life, and wow, it sucked. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemies, truly. In your 20s, you might have stuck around hoping they'd change or text you back. In your 30s, you've got better boundaries and a clearer sense of what you deserve. Quality over quantity. Remember when dating felt like a numbers game? I do. Back-to-back dates and endless swiping? Now you're more focused on meaningful connections, not just meeting as many people as possible. Intentionality leads to deeper, more fulfilling relationships. Curious what others' thoughts are on this, of any age. I'm coming to this experience as a dater in my 30s, of course, but I feel at least some of what I see.
now whenever someone has anything remotely curious to say,
but definitely grounded thoughts. So sorry about that. We're still tiptoeing around the we're still tiptoeing around the audio file, still not functioning the way it's supposed to function because StreamYard has not improved its connectivity to the audio files. But don't worry, I got a backup audio file here that keeps our place, so we are able to restructure the previous audio file to the current audio file. Now, in response to her comments, first of all, dating in your 30s as a woman might be less complicated than dating as a woman in your 20s because you have stopped throwing it back on a regular basis. But dating as a woman in your 30s is going to be harder because, and as a woman in your 30s, you're less desirable by more men because you are going to be less prone to fertility, which is going to mean that you're not going to be having children. You might not have the desire to have children. And the men that are in their 30s and 40s are more often than not going to still be interested in being a father. There are a select few men that are not interested in being fathers, but more often than not, you'll come across men who were not interested in being a father in their 20s and start being interested in being a father in their 30s and 40s now that they're financially stable. You are now looking for that financially stable man in the 30s and 40s. He's in your age group, quote unquote, but he is in the mentality of the women that are in their early 20s, the ones that are willing to be partners to the man, the ones that are willing to be cooperative to the man's agenda, and the ones that are still willing to bear children and parent them. So you have a little bit of a complex scenario because while I do agree with you, you say that they're setting clear boundaries. We do have non-negotiable expectations for behavior, and those non-negotiable expectations for behavior does allow us to limit ourselves to the bullshit that we come in contact with on a day-to-day basis. So there are some things that we just are not going to allow to happen in our 30s where we kind of ignored it or allowed it to happen because of how we felt about the other person. Now it doesn't matter how I feel about you. There are certain things that are just not gonna fly. And as soon as it happens, I'm not giving you a second chance. This is where non-negotiable expectations for behavior comes in, because the difference between non-negotiable expectations and boundaries is that boundaries is putting up walls. And if you're in a healthy relationship, there are no walls between you and your partner. So there's just certain types of behavior that we're just not going to allow to happen. That's it. She's not going to allow him to do certain things. He's not going to allow her to do certain things. And if these two can't come to an agreement, this relationship isn't going to work in your 30s and 40s. You are correct that there is conscious choice. There is the ability to know what you stand for. But one of the harder problems that women are going to have in their 30s is that there are less women willing to adapt to the man's expectations, because the women who are in their 30s and 40s, who are going to hate me for saying this, and I don't really care, but they are knowledgeable about their wants, needs, and desires. They have come to understand what they like and don't like based on all the plethora of partners that they've been exposed to and all of the trauma that they've endured from that plethora of partners. But the problem is at no point in life between 16 and 36 did the woman learn how to be a good partner, for her man, for her husband. So the issue is that in your 30s, yeah, you got your shit together mentally, and somewhat, for some of y'all at least. But the issue is that you are still not willing to meet the expectations of the other person. You are just setting your own standards. But then we also have this imbalance that a lot of women bring to the table, where a man must meet the expectations of the woman, but the man is also supposed to accept the woman and all of her flaws and her failure to meet the man's expectations. Now, this misconception leaves a biased position, because now we're in a position where the men must meet the full criteria in order to qualify, and the women are exempt from responsibility to meet a criteria set by the man. Now, that's going to be complicated. Now, there are going to be some men that aren't going to care. They're going to accept you for who you are because of whatever reason. But more often than not, the higher valued men that are to be respected and appreciated are not going to tolerate that. So that's going to make it harder for a woman to find a man of substance that she could settle down with in her middle ages after running the streets like a used car on a NASCAR track. It's just not, it's not healthy. So yeah, as you said, dating is going to be different in your 30s than what it's going to be in your 40s. Dating for men is going to be different in their 30s and 40s than what it would have been in their 20s, because men are not going to be chasing women on a regular basis. Men are not going to care if a woman is even there. If she's there, she's there. If she's not, she's not. But because a man is going to be more focused on his financial stability in his 30s and 40s, the man is going to have more accessibility to resources, which means he's going to have more accessibility to more affluent markets, which means that he's going to have more financially valuable and more physically valuable and more effort valuable women that will be more qualifiable to his expectations. So instead of him chasing a large quantity of hood rats, he will be able to start investigating a smaller quantity of upscale women. But he has to meet the criteria of those upscale women, where those upscale women will put forth effort to value the upscale man, as opposed to the mid to low value man that is going after the hood rats and all the low value women, where those low value women are just sitting there with their hand out, and the only thing they have to bring to the table is sex and a smile. So the higher value, and then again, on the flip side with the women have to understand that while their education and their career choice and their income is not valuable to a man, they can potentially hook a guy that's broke, that needs a little bit of financial assistance, and they might be able to formulate something. But you also have to understand that while women believe that they should be taken care of by a man, they are going to hold a level of reserved animosity that she has to carry the financial weight of everything. He's not providing extra for her personal desires. And that level of animosity is going to lead to resentment. And those levels of resentment is going to lead to her taking shots at him because he's not, quote unquote, good enough for her, because he's capable of providing her what she can provide for herself, but he's not capable of providing her with a better lifestyle than she can provide for herself. But your equal is somebody who can do for you what you can do for yourself while they take care of themselves at the same time. Your equal is not somebody that elevates you to a higher level. If you are being elevated to a higher level, then that means that person is better than you. They're financially better than you. They have more resources than you. They have more of a skill set than you. They have a better network than you because they are elevated. They're elevating you. In order for me to put you on level 2, I got to be on level 2. I can't help you get to level 2 if I ain't been on level 2. So at the end of the day, I've got to be better than you. I got to be more advanced than you in order to put you on that level. And there's Cody. We got you up there, Cody. I think I put you up there right there, number 7 or 8. You in there? I could see you wasn't here yesterday. You should have been here yesterday. We were talking about the swastika thing. We were talking about the a lot of stuff yesterday. We were talking about the NAACP thing yesterday. Man, you should have been here. Because I told you the day before that I was going to do that yesterday. You should have just slid right on in. So he's talking about then the 19 poke us all. Oh, it pokes us all. I don't know. I don't think 19-year-olds are gonna the 19-year-olds actually kind of a little bit more cooperative, even though they're going to be looking for that guy that's going to take care of them. They're actually still willing to do more for the man, because you got to understand that the first 3 to 5 boyfriends and that a woman gets, she's willing to do everything for that person to satisfy that person and make that person happy. After a few dozen bad relationships and a few dozen bad encounters, she usually puts herself into a position where she doesn't give a shit about the man anymore, and she only focuses on her personal wants, needs, and desires, and just hopes to find a man that's going to meet her halfway with her expectations. So that kind of changes her perspective. Oh yeah, the difference between 2019 and 2025. Oh yeah, there's a whole new difference. We're in a whole different ball game right now, buddy. As California continues to burn to the ground, talk about hell on earth. It's going to be a wild ride for some of us, y'all. Special shout out to Red Void and Danny, and let's see, we got Max Opposer, Joe, and Mr. Pibbs as they slide through. Yeah, I see y'all. So we got a few more of these. We got quite a few more of these. We got at least about an hour to an hour and a half more. I know I got something sliding in just a minute, but we got a lot of these coming up. Let's go ahead and see what the next comment is, because we got a lot of comments tonight.
What do guys want from girls in the talking stage? I feel like I hear so many mixed opinions on this, so guys, answer honestly. Also, don't say, just be yourself. I need real answers.
Okay. So I'm going to start by saying just be yourself. That is one thing that men want, because we don't like a facade, because you can only put on a show for so long. And then after that, you're going to turn into your true self, and that might not be the person that we like. So I'm going to start with that. The next thing I'm going to tell you is that what a lot of men are looking for, I've said this with the last person, is that we're looking for a partner. So in the talking stage, we're looking to find out what you're willing to do for your man versus what you expect from your man. Because quite honestly, a lot of us men that are not emotionally intelligent and not mature enough to know, we actually put a lot of time in our finding out what you want and what you like and what you need and expect, without ever putting in our non-negotiable expectations for behavior on the table. And I'm going to be honest with you, I've been telling everybody since 2023 to put a stop to that and start explaining to the masses what we expect to see in 2025 from the first date. So while we're in a talking phase, as a man, I'm telling you what I expect from you. I'm telling you what I expect you to aid me with. And I'm not even sitting over here talking about how much money you're putting on the table, but I'm also going to tell you that we need to start treating these relationships like mergers, like business mergers. If you invest in me and the company that is our relationship, then you will receive dividends from that. But if you're not working for the company and you're not investing in the company, you ain't getting shit. So if you're not putting something into this relationship, whether it's effort or financial compensation, then you are not getting anything out of this relationship, because sex is mutually exclusive between the two of us, and it only holds the same weight of sex between the two of us. It is not tradable for the man's resources. So we're not going down that road. We're going to be talking about what you're capable of doing, and going to work is not a capable contribution to the relationship, unless you're going to be trying to pay 75% of everything that's going on in this relationship. Cody says, not even February and celebrating, what is it? Solemn Northup. Oh, Halo 4 music starts. Oh, well, we have. Oh, you're talking about the salute. I talked about that salute for like 30 minutes yesterday. But you guys got to understand that it's Black History season. And I know that Black History Month. Nah, it's not a month. It's Black History season, because you got Martin Luther King's birthday, you got Obama's birthday, President's Day somewhere around the corner at some point. You've got the quote unquote Black History Month in addition to that. So from January to March, we're celebrating something that's got something to do with Black people and Mardi Gras. And then we got one more month of Black History for Juneteenth. And throughout that entire scenario, we are talking about the history that Black people have overcome in this country, while trying not to make it seem like America was born and bred off of a bunch of monsters mistreating each other. The levels of unethical behavior that happened in this country a long time ago. Not holding anything against anybody for the actions and behavior of their forefathers. And I'm not going to sit here and try to complain about, the man kept me down. Nah. I'm financially successful. I don't give a fuck about that. It's past is past. I want my Aunt Jemima back. I want my Uncle Ben's rice back, because that was a staple in my refrigerator. God dang it. I don't care about the monuments. I want the sexy hourglass figure woman on my maple syrup when I'm having my breakfast. You done changed it to a regular bottle called General Mills. I don't want that. I want that old bad lady on my bottle of syrup, so that I can have my syrup with my woman in the morning. That's what I'm talking about. But that's beyond the point. Fact is, we have a whole season of talking about what went wrong in this country when minority people stopped being used as tools and started being recognized as people. When we understand that the Constitution was made in the 13 colonies by the forefathers, that none of them were minorities, and minorities were considered property back when the Constitution was made. So we have to recognize that in Black History Month, that everybody Black is not a part of the Constitution, because the Constitution was made for non-Black people, because Black people were property when the Constitution was made. But since we're going to incorporate all of the Black people into the Constitution and start talking about everybody's equal now, everybody's equal under the eyes of the new executive orders that Donald Trump wrote. It fair is what fair does, but we just got to remember that when we start talking about what sucks from the past, it just sucks. But I did point out how the NAACP has 75% white people, and there were at least 2 black Ku Klux Klan members from 1979 to 2014. So, surprise, it wasn't all races on both sides. There was some color in the non-color side, and there was some non-color in the color side. So, the past ain't what you thought it was. Cody says, that was my buddy saluting at the flag. Bro, I was sitting over here looking at that like he hit his chest like he was having a heart attack. And then he did that John Bradshaw Latefield when John Bradshaw stopped being a wrestler, because he did that exact same salute, but he did it from the head, and then he came and then he did the whole thing like that, and he was waving at the fans. But they took that offensively in one of them countries, and they had tanked John Bradshaw Layfield's character, and he was no longer able to wrestle for a while, and then he became a commentator because I guess they just didn't know. So that was crazy. He said Juneteenth should just be called what is that? Taylor Teeth? Oh no, it's not Miss Buttermilk. It's Mrs. Butterworth. It's Mrs. Butterworth. That's the other one. It's an Aunt Mama and some other brands too. Yeah. They took out Aunt Mama. They took out Uncle Ben's, and Uncle Ben's is now called Minute Rice. But Uncle Ben's was the Minute Rice. And so when I go to the grocery store, I'm going to look for some Uncle Ben's. I can't find them. So now I got to go find Jasmine rice. Only reason why I'm finding Jasmine rice is because of Aladdin. Because Jasmine was fine. So I'm like, that should taste good. So let's go get that. We shop different. He said, we need to revive or clone Andrew Jackson. I don't know. Andrew Jackson did a lot in a lot of places. But if we revive or clone Andrew Jackson, then we're really going to have to revive or clone Johnny Cochran. But if we revive Andrew Jackson and Johnny Cochran, then you have to understand that we're going to have a lot more O.J. Simpsons walking around and a lot more George Zimmermans walking around, because, a lot of the things that they did was for the betterment of some people who were underrepresented and marginalized. But you also have to understand that people could get away with stuff that they're not supposed to get away with if they got the right representation. So while it is good to have better representation when you're being deprived, it's not so good for the rest of us, for those people who can afford the best, to get that type of representation that gets them off on just about everything, because we're going to be sitting here with a bunch of convicts running the, oh wait, we already have that. Bunch of convicts running the country. Because he did get convicted, and then he got elected, and then they dismissed his case before they sentenced him. All right. Cody says it worked. I know. It's crazy. They just stretched the envelope. Let's dive into some more of these comments, because we got a lot of them.
Is this weird? So I met this guy on Hinge and we talked for a bit before exchanging numbers. He seemed normal on the app, but when we started texting he started asking weirder questions. When we were discussing sleep schedules he randomly asked if I slept with a teddy. And then he compared me to a little girl. Later on he basically asked if I was a bad little girl, which honestly feels weird. I don't know him, never met up with him, we've only been texting for a while. I personally feel like it's weird since I'm well aware I look young, although I'm 24 and I'm short, 5 feet 1 inch. Many guys have assumed I'm 14. Should I be concerned about this guy?
Cody, what do you think? Should she be concerned? I don't think so. If you're 24 years old, 5'1", look like you're 14, that's a Lolita fetish. Every man has that. I would say, he said Winston Church. I would say, look, right? Sounds like Hinge, right? But think about this though. Okay, so if you know that you look like a 14-year-old, if a man is going to pick your profile out of a lineup, you are personally going to have red flags about that, because you look like a 14-year-old on an adult website. any man that clicks on that profile, you are going to have negative thoughts about. Personally, you should feel glad that you look like you're 14 at 24, because that means that when you look like you're 40, you're going to look like you're 24. But if you got the body of a 14-year-old at 24, the height of a 14-year-old at 24, and you're going to pick on this guy because he made a few jokes because you look a little bit childish for your age, and you're going to take that offensively, you should probably never date. Because I'm going to be honest with you. Men that are 4'9", 5'2", 5'3", they have no problem with reminding a woman that is 6 foot or 5'9" that he is not a little boy. But you also have to understand that he could be 6 foot tall, that a woman will demasculate a man by saying, "Come here, little boy," or "Boy, please." Let me tell you something. It happens on both sides of the fence. If he had more respect for you outside of those dry jokes because of your height and your appearance, fact is, y'all might have would have got along just fine. You at 24 are at the final stage of availability. Next year, you are going to be like spoiled milk. From 25 to 30, you are going to have less and less people interested in you. So if you are 24 and you're 5'1" and you look like you're 14, you would do better sticking with somebody now than waiting until you're 32 and hoping that you'll find somebody there. Cody says, I would say run. Well, Cody, why would you say run? Would you say as a man to run from her, or would you be telling her to run from him? Because that's really a difference in the dynamic of things. Because most women expect a man that's 6 feet tall. That's the majority of women. They expect a man that's 6 feet tall or taller, making over $100,000 a year. So you got to have 6-7 figures on your paycheck. And this is the common expectation of women. But if you're 5'1" and he is 11 inches taller than you, you are standing next to a man that you're going to look like his child. And the same negative opinion you have about other countries that allow 40-year-old men to marry 13-year-old children, you would get mad at that image. But you at 24 look like a 14-year-old standing next to a 30-year-old. And you're going to say that your 6 foot tall boyfriend, that's acceptable because you chose him. But society is going to look down on him because they're going to look at y'all kissing and think that he's kissing a child because you look like you're 14. You would have to effectively defend your man and remind people that you are, in fact, 24, that he is not messing with no little girl. But men would have to take that risk to talk to you. In fact, it goes so far as to men at the club would have to bite that bullet, because if they decide to entertain and believe you saying that you're 24, that's equivalent to them believing those kids that get fake IDs and sneak into the club and they're not 18 yet, and they're in there pretending like they're grown because they look like they're 30 and they're really like 18 or 17 or 16 and a half. Full-figured women. So the men have to be more careful than the women. You look like you're 14, Cody? This is how I look when I was 16, short to facial hair. I actually grew the goatee between 16 and 18, and I kept the goatee for the last 20 years just to make sure. So I've always, I guess, I don't know, I look 16 now, or I looked like I was 40 when I was 16. Either way, my facial complexion has not changed. My features have not changed in over 20 years. I'm actually the same height that I was when I was 16, around about the same weight. I can still fit the same clothes that I used to wear when I was 16. Some of the ones that I still have possession of. I have not, my structure has not changed at all in over a decade. Well, in over 2 decades, actually. Almost 3 decades, really. So, positive thing. They say that black don't crack. That's an old saying, but genetics are good if you take care of yourself. Cody says, Mark Wahlberg, Leonard from Revenant. What's his name? Leonardo, DiCaprio. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio, the rabbi. Oh, you talk like Benjamin Button. Yeah, like Dudes that look attractive, but like, or not so much attractive, but like they look young, but they old as fuck. Like that. People don't age sometimes. Some people just don't age. So for a woman to be offended because a man is attracted to her and she still looks the way she looked before puberty, hey, rock them looks while you still can, sweetheart, because once you pass menopause, ain't no man gonna want you. Unless he's like 78 on a breathalyzer and he's just looking for somebody to hang out with so that he don't die alone. So yeah, that's my thought on that. It's not a red flag for a man to George Clooney, Charlie Sheen. You know, Charlie Sheen, look, he was getting on everybody. How many charges Charlie Sheen got for trafficking? All I'm saying is most men, especially the wealthy ones, Puff Daddy's house. Look at all the Puff Daddy's parties. Most of them wasn't of age. Look at the Walt Disney scandal that happens every year, where they all get got in Polk County, Florida, where there's usually 20 or 30 employees from Walt Disney that get got for trafficking. It is a commonality that middle-aged men like younger women. But there are countries across the world where the legal age is 13. China just raised their legal age to 16. America is one of very few countries that's talking about 18. You've got other countries that are marrying their children, arranged marriages at 13 years old. She ain't even finished hooking up her Xbox yet, and she's already somebody's wife. You feel me? She ain't even got a chance to enjoy her Game Boy Switch, and she's already somebody's wife. So when you start talking about how you 24 and you capping because American men think that you cute, like he could see himself fitting you with a nice little teddy bear and putting you into to some like little cute pajamas, or even get you one of them schoolgirl outfits, because that's just like a whole nother thing. Like that's a whole nother thing. But there's room to grow there. But getting offended, not at 24. You start getting offended by little stuff like that when you 38 and they looking at you like grandma, because God knows there are some women that don't age until they age drastically. You will look 14 until you're 40, and then you look 65 when you're 42, and you don't know what happened. Inside of 12 months, you start wrinkling up like Benjamin Button did. They'll be mistaking you for people great grandma and stuff, and you 5'1". Think about it now. So just enjoy your youth while you still can. Let's touch base on a couple of other of these. Oh, hold on a second before we get going. He said he said weird. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a weirdo kind of thing. You're all right.
Is this weird? So I met this guy on Hinge and we talked for a bit before exchanging numbers. He seemed normal on the app, but when we started texting, he started asking weirder questions. When we were discussing sleep schedules, he randomly asked if I slept with a teddy. And then he compared me to a little girl. Later on, he basically asked if I was a bad little girl, which honestly feels weird. I don't know him, never met up with him, we've only been texting for a while. I personally feel like it's weird since I'm well aware I look young, although I'm 24 and I'm short, 5 feet 1 inch.
Exactly.
Many guys have assumed I'm 14. Should I be concerned about this guy?
We're going to talk about the next one. Let's keep going.
He came back and I rejected him. Well, it happened to me. I never would have thought someone I talked to or dating would have come back, but it happened today. Basically me and this guy were talking and went on a few dates and things were great. I really liked him and we clicked well. Then he started to cancel dates, then started to ignore calls and text messages. And just like that, I heard those faithful words. I'm not ready for a relationship. Too much is going on, and that was that. I didn't beg. I didn't ask why. I just said, okay, and hung up. Fast forward to now, about a month after we stopped talking. He asked if we could pick up where we left off, and I politely told him no. My exact words were, and I quote, "Oh wow. So self-sabotage was a better option? Screw me, then LOL. In all seriousness, I'm flattered, but at this point, I am no longer interested. You already showed me you leave at the first sight of conflict/discomfort. You ended it, not me. You didn't consider how I would feel about things ending, but you did anyway. It shouldn't take time for you to appreciate my absence. I'm not okay with that. I would rather you leave me alone since that's what you said you wanted. And here we are. On one hand, I didn't want to continue what we had, but on the other, I don't want to give people a second chance to say they don't want me. I'm already over it mentally, and I refuse to get hurt again by someone who is unsure about me.
All right. So, what about the concept that he said a meanie head? You damn right she a meanie head. Look, what about the concept of he was trying to start up something with you. His ex came back into the picture, started causing drama. Would you have preferred for him to try to date you and navigate the toxicity of his ex trying to haunt him before he got a chance to do away with his ex? Would you not have preferred for him to close the door on the past to make sure that he had nothing interfering with the success of the relationship with you and then come and give you his undivided attention? Or would you prefer for him to hold on to you and try to fight off the toxicity of his past and make room for you without ever letting you go, where you watch him deal with a toxic lifestyle that he's trying to overcome? I think a lot of women would prefer that a man would, hold on, chat get breaks your heart. Look, I think that a lot of women would prefer that a man had all of his eggs in the same basket, lined up in a row, and was organized and not be dealing with toxicity. I think women would prefer a man that did not have his ex knocking on his door trying to find out who he talking to now. I think that women would prefer that a man have his bills in order and not be dealing with bankruptcies and cash advances and lights getting cut off and car being repossessed and financial troubles when y'all first start dating. So I personally feel like if his life wasn't in order when he met you and he realized that and he decided that he's going to put this on hold because he can't deal with the stuff that's going wrong with his life and make a successful relationship with you, I think that was more mature of him to say now is not the right time for this. But instead of him trying to have his cake and eat it too, and then circle back around to you, he put his whole life on hold, got himself together, came back 30 days later, said, all right, I'm ready to make this work. Now, you and your feelings talking about some, he rejected me once before. He didn't reject you. He told you he wasn't ready. He didn't tell you he didn't like you. He didn't tell you that you the problem. He said that he was the problem, that he wasn't capable of supporting a relationship at that time. And it was only 30 days later. It's not 6 months later. It's not 2 years later. It was 30 days later. He's like, look, whatever was going wrong, I fixed that. You could have asked him what was going on. And he said, I do anything for Kay, let alone her. Right now, if that was his mentality, though, like how often does a man have to show a woman that he's got problems that he doesn't need her to handle, but he needs her to stick with him while he works through those problems, and the woman is going to actually stay there and do that? We're talking about committing to a chaotic lifestyle out the gate before you have developed loyalty with one another. How many women are willing to do that? That's like saying you're willing to date a guy, find out he's got a warrant out for his arrest for murder, and he's out on bail, but he didn't show up for court. Like, how are you going to commit to that? He need to get himself together before he come and talk to you. You know? So really and truly, if a man is talking to you and he tells you legit, now is not a good time, for whatever reason, he might not explain it, but now is not a good time. Later, when he circles back, what was going on in your life that it was not a good time? Fair question to ask if you're going to decide if you're going to give him another shot. But just rejecting the man because he told you that his life wasn't together this month, and next month he said, okay, I got everything taken care of now. Let's make this work. If all I needed was 30 days to get my life in order so I have space for you, why not give me that? It takes 60 days to close on a house, don't it? 45 to 60 days to close on a house. You're telling me that you would have preferred to watch the man stumble through his failures instead of letting him get himself together. And these are the same mentality of the type of women that are not willing to build a man up to the finished product. They look for the finished product. So men are conditioned to be the finished product. So if they're not the finished product, the men are now saying, look, I'm not ready yet because I'm not what I believe you want me to be because my shit ain't together yet. Give me a little bit of time to get my shit together, and then I'm gonna come back and talk to you. Then when they come back, now you want to be salty. Oh, you rejected me. Hold on. Let's go down this list real quick because, ladies, y'all get approached by a man probably 500 times more than a man gets approached by a woman. 499 men get rejected by you for you to say yes to one man. 499 women will reject that man before a woman says yes to the man. You didn't get rejected. You got put on hold. You got put in a friend zone. You got put on the sidelines. Pause. Don't go nowhere. We're going to do a recruiting thing next time around kind of situation. He didn't just pass you over for somebody else and had a bad relationship and decided to circle back to you. He actually just said, hold up. Let's wait a little bit. I get right back to you. That's the same thing that you say when you at the grocery store and you want to buy something and you ain't bring enough cash. Hold up, let me go to the ATM machine. I'll be right back. That's the exact same say. So why you gonna sit there and talk trash about that man? That's crazy. He said cabinet's going wild. Yes. Till I'm back one day. Exactly. That's why I don't understand that mentality is not cohesive. You know what I'm saying? Now, shoe on the other foot. If a female has stuff going on, because you got to understand, men got work too. Men got to go out of town for work, and he got stuff to do. If you were in that scenario and you're about to leave town, you got to go out of town for a month for your job. You're not trying to work no relationship right now. You're like, look, now's not a good time. Let me talk to you when I get back in town, kind of situation. You got some situations where women are out of a relationship. They thought they were out of the relationship, but the ex-boyfriend came back, beating on a door, trying to make up with you and stuff. And you got to get rid of him, get a restraining order, all this stuff. You're not going to want to introduce your new man to the toxicity of your last man. Same thing. Put yourself in somebody else's shoes. If you were in that situation, would you want that person to hang in there and watch you go through this chaos? Or would you want this person to give you the opportunity to clean up your life before you bring them into your life? That's what I think about that. The cabinet going wild till I come back. You throw it, Cody. You throw it.
Nicest rejection, but so painful. Had a great date last week with a guy who was 48. I followed up and I'm not sure I am feeling enough of a romantic connection. Story of my life. You're really lovely and all that. And say hello if you ever see me about. I feel so rejected. It hurts more as I've been written off after 2 hours, and maybe more of a romantic connection would come with time. How to stay hopeful. Not feel like it's because you're ugly. Dates are so hard to come by in your 40s that it's hard when promising ones disappear. How does anyone keep going?
Oh, welcome to being a man, Miss Ma'am. Because that's what the fuck we go through on a regular basis. You know how many times that shit happens to us? Wait, I just told y'all like 3 days ago that a man that was in his 40s had went on 25 first dates in 12 months. And he has to pay for each one of those first dates. He's going to get stood up 3 or 4 times out of those 25 first dates. Maybe got stood up 4 times and still had 25 successful first dates, which means that he was at like almost 30 first dates in a year. He's still paying for all of these dates. He's going to spend all this money for an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours of time with this woman, and then it's not going to follow up. They're all going to say it's not you, it's me. They're all going to make a lot of excuses. Some of them are going to ghost him and not go on a second date. Some of them are going to make excuses and cancel. Some of them are just not going to try. And the man has to find the courage, the confidence, and motivation to get back out there and try again. It's a numbers game. It's not supposed to be, but it is. And because it is a numbers game, women are not used to being rejected. When you get rejected, it is more devastating to you than it is to us because we've been getting rejected since we were like 14. Boys were getting rejected when they were asking the girl, would you go to prom with me? Yes or no. Would you date me? Yes or no. Can we go steady? Yes or no. Way back in the day. You understand? We've been getting rejected from middle school. Men get used to rejection in middle school, where our friends are laughing at us and our classmates are laughing at us. We get rejected in high school, where the football team is laughing at us and the cheerleaders are laughing at us. We get rejected at the workforce. We get rejected in college. We get out of college. We get rejected in the workforce. We start our own company. We get rejected. We get rejected in the sorority with the sorority girls in fraternities. We get rejected at the club. Then after we get financially stable, we get less rejections because they see that we got more to offer. So we just build up a hard shell and we just keep trying until somebody says yes. The sad part is that we lower our expectations for the frequency of rejections that we get so that we can try to get a yes. And that is a big problem, because as we lower our expectations, hoping that somebody's going to say yes, we're now got yes that is beneath us, because that person does not meet our expectations. They do not meet our non-negotiable expectations for behavior, and that person is usually a toxic relationship. And now we not only have a trauma from a toxic relationship, we also have the problem that we have to recover from this toxic relationship and then get back out there and deal with the whole game of being rejected again 500, 900, 700 times before somebody else says yes. And then it takes us a number of years before we realize that we're picking the wrong chicks, because we keep lowering our standards to get accepted. And then after we continuously lower our standards to get accepted, we continuously fall into the same type of relationship with the same type of lower value woman, instead of us saying, you know what, I'm going to wait until a higher valued, higher quality one comes about. And I will just continuously get told no by the higher value ones. But that means I'm going to be asking less women, or waiting for them to ask me, because a woman is going to approach you at some point, just not nearly as many times as the men are. So he said, best new Oscar actress is a male. Perez. Okay. He says, like Dunkirk and a WW2 deal before anyone does anything, buy a harmonica. Yep. The fact is that it's hard out here. It's hard out here, but that's the life of a man. So if you are a female and you've been rejected by a man, look, you're just getting started. If you are an alpha lady and you are out there in the dating world and you are making the first move, welcome to the world of being a man. Welcome to the world of being masculine. Welcome to the world of being an alpha. The person who initiates first contact gets rejected more often than the person who receives the initiation. The person who receives the initiation doesn't recognize their rejection because they're just not approached. That is the rejection. So you notice that they have some women that walk down the strip. They go out to the club, they walk down the strip, and they feel bad because no men approach them. Not because a man rejected them, because no men approached them. You know why they feel bad about that? Because the absence of initiation from men is a form of rejection. But women don't feel that rejection the way men feel that no. The way men feel that I'm not interested. The way women will cut off a man's hi, my name is with I got a boyfriend, I got a boyfriend, I got a boyfriend, when they clearly don't. This is the difference between what men have to deal with versus what women have to deal with. And God forbid the man walks up to a toxic woman where the woman is going to embarrass the man in front of everyone in the group, or embarrass the man in front of everyone in the room, where the man can't even recover from the rejection that you gave him and go talk to another woman in the same room because you just destroyed this man's position in front of everybody. You couldn't just politely, quietly say thank you, but no thank you, so that he could just like shake that off, get him a drink at the bar, and then go to the other side of the room and go talk to somebody else. You didn't blast him in front of everybody. Now he's got to close out his tab, leave this bar, go to another bar, and go talk to somebody else over there. Instead of you just being polite. You could have been polite, bought him a drink, and said, you know what, I appreciate it. Your next drink is on me. Not very many women do that. But do you realize you would be more popular amongst the masses if you rejected men with class and respect and dignity than what you do rejecting men the ratchet woman and Target way, the Waffle House way, the World Star way. I'm just saying. But we also got to recognize that we build the environment that we're in. So the men that support the ratchet behavior are breeding a generation of ratchet behavior in the dating game, and the women that are turning the men into paymasters are breeding men that are going to throw money at you for sex, because that's what you're doing. You are saying that, if you've got enough money, I'll spread them. That's not your train of thought when you're looking for a husband or a boyfriend. But by condoning that it ain't tricking if you got it mentality, you are leaving the door open for only men that have enough money to bribe you into doing things that you normally wouldn't do are going to be the men that's going to approach you. That makes the whole dating game sour. So in order for men to have wives, the first thing that men are going to have to do is stop behaving like dogs and start expecting the women to act like wives instead of allowing the women to smile and be cute and wear extremely tight clothes, exposing all of their genitalia, where the man are only going to be attracted to this woman for the thought of having sex with this woman and think that that's wife material, because it's not. If you're not dressing like Michelle Obama, you're not wife material. I'm just saying. If you're not dressing like a female politician, you're not wife material. Even that ratchetness that we had with Kamala Harris's campaign, she still was in pantsuits and stuff. You ain't seen her with no skirt with her behind hanging out. She still was in pantsuits. I'm just saying, like, there's a way for y'all to dress with class and carry yourself with a little bit more dignity, and then you will attract more men that have more respect for you. Likewise with men, instead of liking all these photos with women on social media where they damn, and then you think that you're going to find a woman that don't look like that. Most of the women getting their views off of putting on skimpy outfits and getting up there on social media and getting 100,000 views because you can see the crack of their front and their back. But don't no man want no woman that the whole world is seen naked. So OnlyFans girls is like, oh, I'm rich, so I don't need no man. Sweetheart, you saying you don't need no man because you might be somewhat rich until Donald Trump get his hands on you. But the fact is that don't no man want you. Not for no serious relationship. Cody says about to go buy some tea leaves for real. have her throw the money. Oh, bro, if she was throwing money, if females is throwing money at men, bro, they would have so much more success with finding a good dude. Because one, if you go to a man in a suit and you start paying for his stuff, that man will take you with him everywhere he goes and outpay you. You throw down 500 on his, he gonna throw down 1,000 on yours. He's not even gonna want to accept it a lot of the times. But the fact is that you will show a man that you're not gonna waste his money and you're not gonna waste his time if you throwing money down on a situation. Women don't want to hear that though. Women, oh, I got to get paid for my time. I got to get reimbursed for my efforts into the relationship. You ain't even committed to his ass yet. That shit makes sense when you've been dating a man for 2 years. And the stuff that you do for him is reimbursed by him buying you stuff and taking you places. But for those women that don't want to do stuff because it's considered oppressive, they want to be alpha boss ladies where they follow instructions from the man who's paying them about an hour minimum wage to follow instructions. But they come home and they don't want to follow instructions from the man that pays for her whole standard of living, where she don't got to take the money she got from the one man and put it into the house with the man she living with. She keep that, take care of herself with it. But that man that she living with, taking care of a whole standard of living, that's the man that'll catch a bullet for her. That's the man that'll fix her car for nothing. That's the man that'll buy her another car when her car breaks. She won't listen to him. But the other dude that's giving her $15 an hour, $18 an hour to follow instructions, shut up when I tell you to shut up, sit down when I tell you to sit down, go take a break when I tell you to take a break, bring your ass to work on your day off when I tell you to come to work, that's the man she gonna listen to. Why? I don't understand. I need a woman to come up here and come and explain to me why y'all feel like y'all can follow instructions from your boss, but you don't follow instructions from your husband. Because I still don't understand the dynamic in that. Cody says, go out to dinner for your first date, and it's Michelle Obama. Bro, if that was the case, that would be my last dinner. I'd be cooking and cleaning for her. He'd make her pay for the soap. She paying for everything. She paying for everything. Shit. Because, if you got Michelle Obama in the car, she's civil justice. So we get pulled over. She's advocating for the passenger seat. She talking about my rights, her rights, the rights of the person in the car behind us. I'm trying to tell you. Look now. We got to be trying to figure out what are these women bringing to the table when we talking about something. We're going to wife them up, because we have yet to find women that have the mentality that they're going to be wife material from the first date. A lot of them, especially in their early 20s, is trying to figure out how much can they get out of this dude before the dude closes his wallet, or before she has to open her legs. That scale is not a long-term relationship. That mentality is not a long-term relationship, but that's what we see in the dating game right now. And that's not all the women. More often than not, it's the young ones, the older ones that then already did that. Funny segue. Why is it all you middle-aged women that have been through that game where y'all play around, play the field, and enjoy the pleasures of life from 20 to 30, then y'all regret all the decisions that y'all made? Why don't y'all tell the next generation of 20-year-old women to cut that shit out, because they're going to be disappointed in the long run? Why do y'all always promote stay single, you don't need no man, live your best life, do you, girl? And then when they end up your age, 35, 40, they miserable just like you, wishing they had a man, when you could have been teaching them at 18 to 25. Be more respectful, be more cooperative, be more obedient, be more helpful. You will find a man that will do for you what you want him to do for you, because you will do for him what he wants you to do for him. That's partnership. Why y'all not teaching each other how to be good partners? Y'all want $100,000 man that's 6 foot tall, but y'all not trying to be a 5'2" wife. Make it make sense, ladies. We got a few more of these. Let's tap dance, because we got a couple things happening after this.
I give up. I am ready for a lonely life. I am done with dating and I am preparing for a lonely life. I am so tired of talking to guys on dating apps. I am not sure where I went wrong. I try to get to know them on a deeper level, make them laugh. I put in effort. I am approachable, caring, kind, financially stable, well educated. I can communicate. I don't judge and I don't have any special requirements either. Just a kind, loving, caring person who is emotionally intelligent. I am not bad looking either. Yet the guys I've matched with put little to no effort in getting to know me. It's either surface level or it's you're amazing. The guy who will end up with you will be so lucky. I am so sick of it. I have simple, boring hobbies. Crochet, painting, reading, staying at home watching movies, hiking, etc. I get that not drinking or partying can be a deterrent for a lot of people, but is there no decent guy who would accept me? I don't even want them to join me, as my hobbies are mostly solo hobbies. I have so much love to give. I am in tears right now. I think I will just love my pets and accept the fact that this is it.
Well,
not everyone
all right,
is lucky enough to find love.
Let's go ahead and tap dance on this real quick, cat lady. So first of all, he said, "What a noob." I was just about to get on that, but you hit the nail on the head before I can hit the nail on the head. Look, she talking about she gonna quit. Don't no man care about your career. Don't nobody care about how much money you make. Your hobbies don't matter. But all the stuff you talked about that made you so valuable is how much is the things that you value in you. That might be the things that you value in a man, but that's not the things that a man values in a woman. The things that a man values in a woman is non-tangible stuff that the woman does for the man. You talked about hobbies, and none of them hobbies had to do with you taking good care of the man. Yeah, none of your hobbies had anything to do with making sure that his needs was met, making sure that his shit was organized. So you looking for a man that thinks, oh, well, you're awesome, or you're highly attractive, the superficial, you look good. And they say, well, you might make a good wife for somebody someday, but that's when you get your shit together. You recognize how to be a wife, how to be a partner, because you're looking for somebody you want to give love to. You can't give no love to somebody if your ass ain't following no damn instructions. How the fuck we gonna get this shit together? We had this old saying. I got this real quick, Cody. We got this old saying where Mommy used to tell us, we not going over the plan on how to rob the bank while we at the bank. If your ass ain't where you supposed to be at, your ass is getting left. That's what we used to say back in the day. So fact is that if you don't know how to get on the bandwagon and go along with the plan, you're not going to be a part of the plan, because we're not about to execute the plan and be set up for failure because you are not following the plan. That's how Set It Off failed. Queen Latifah had a head start and sat there trying to find getaway music. She should have got away first and then did some celebration music. They would have never got caught. But egos aside, we have situations where we solo want what we want, but what we're not wanting is to be the best person for the other person. Because your value is not how much you value yourself. Your value is how much you are valued by your society. Your value is how much you are valued by your partner in your relationship. You are only worth to someone else as much as they can benefit from you. A man is only worth as much to a woman as he can contribute to her. Typically, from the woman's perspective, it is contributions of finance and resources. A woman is only as valuable to a man as much as he can benefit from her. Typically, from a man's point of view, it is going to be non-tangible. It's going to be actions and effort. So valuing yourself based on your financial success, your educational success, your hobbies, and your own personal likeness, you can say that you are a good person, yes. But are you girlfriend material? Probably not. Wife material? Probably not. That's why you're dating a lot of men and they're telling you, yeah, you'll be good for somebody. You're just not good for me. Think about that. If a lot of people are telling you that you got to tell, you need to look back and see, because you might have one. So if a lot of men are telling you that you got a lot of potential, you need to start asking them, what about you did they not like? Which is why they are not interested in pursuing you further, because that type of constructive criticism, while it will hurt your feelings, it will help you understand the mistakes that you are making, because too many men are turning you away for you to say that you are a catch, because you are not a catch if everybody's throwing you back. I'm going to say that again. You are not a catch if everybody is throwing you back. So you need to start asking people, why are you being thrown back all the time? Men ask women, what do you want from me? What do you expect from me? What did I do wrong? What did I not do right? Because that's the only way we're going to learn. If y'all do what men do, what do you like? What do you don't like? What do you expect? What are you hoping for? What would you prefer to achieve out of this? And then we try to see if we can make that happen. If you have that same mentality, you'll be more successful in your relationships. Cody says, I actually think actual women may like me. That's why I mentioned tea leaves. Well, you got tea leaves, you got cannabis leaves, dabbing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on these days. I know that there are women that actually like me because of my dogs, you know, but fact, I know a lot of women that like me because I'm a black man in a suit. That's just not no. First of all, I'm a man in a suit, but I'm a man with a good tan in a suit. That's even better. That's like a twofer, you know. I have that stereotype where we got like elephant trunks between our legs, so you know, I meet the stereotype. But I'm also in a suit, so they think, well, he must be respectable. He takes good care of himself. He keeps himself in good stature. You know, these are the things that allow women to fantasize as what kind of person that they're getting themselves into. But what it also doesn't do is give them the ability to go find out, because you got to go try. You got to go talk to the other person, and then they've got to show you who they are. And until they show you who you are, it's a guessing game. That's what the talking phase is supposed to be about. You guys are supposed to be out there trying to weed each other out and figure out if you like the other person. And that's where men are failing in the dating game, because men are putting all this money into impressing her before he finds out if he even likes her. He would like to have sex with her, yeah. But beyond that, does he even like her? So he's really investing all of the money to see how much money he has to spend so he can have sex with her. And then after he has sex with her, then he's trying to see how much more about her he likes after the sex. But if the sex ain't good, or if the sex is good and everything else about her is bad, he spent all that money for the one night stand and now he's moving on to the next woman. Got to think about that, y'all. it ain't nice out here the way we think it is.
I feel stupid. I spent my 20s involved in anti-war stuff and working with food not bombs type stuff. I know, cringe to some of you. And generally just passionately advocating or believing in and arguing for a better world. I'm 40 now. Trump 2.0 is here, and that billionaire did a Nazi salute, and I just feel so stupid, almost embarrassed, that I wasted my youthful years when this is what was coming. Like, what a cringe idiot I was. I should have just been selfish and art-focused then,
well,
as
not
my
necessarily,
30s have...
buddy. You got to understand that just because your boy did a Nazi salute, that don't change the fact that you as a person is trying to be a good person. I know what it's like to be out there with food not bombs. I know what it's out there to be giving clothes and food to the homeless every week. It's a full-time job, and it doesn't even pay you. It actually costs you to do it. You're taking care of the less fortunate. I've done that for a long period of time, still doing it. And the fact is that just because the country is shifting into a whole new era does not mean that you are not going to have a good life in this country. But if you follow this podcast and like and subscribe, you can find yourself in situations where you could make some money and go live in another country, and then you don't have to deal with what's going on in this country. But it's only going to be around for 4 years. The behavior of the citizens, the executive orders are going to be around for like 20, 25 years. But the behavior of the citizens are only going to be around for about 4 years. So with that seemingly observed Nazi salute, you are going to have a bunch of neo-Nazis coming out of the woodwork. You're going to have a bunch of supremacists coming out of the woodwork. You're going to have a bunch of non-appropriate people that once you thought who had 5 black friends is now trying to put nooses on their front porch kind of stuff. That behavior is going to start coming back the way it was here between 2017 and 2021. It's going to be the same thing all over again. But you have to understand, you have to recognize and realize is that this country is not made up of the select few individuals that have hatred in their heart. The country is not devoid of solely the select few individuals that would prefer to make someone suffer than to help somebody succeed. There is over 355 or 365 million individuals in this country, and maybe 15 or 20% of them are not pure. The rest of the population cannot be defined by the select few that have a bad attitude. We have to adapt and overcome. We also have to recognize that while there are plenty of people out here that are toxic and narcissistic and look forward to deliberately being a Karen, we have to recognize that there are more people that would prefer that we succeeded, that would prefer to help us, that would prefer to get helped by us than to watch each other wallow in misery. So I'm not going to tell you, you can be a neo-Nazi if you want to, you can be an anti-nationalist if you want to, but I'm going to tell you that it would be more effective for you to take first-person accountability about the city that you live in, about the neighborhood that you live in, inside of the country that you live in, and you make change by continuing to be generous, continuing to be compassionate, continuing to be empathetic, and only keep the people in your network, in your inner circle, that are going to behave like you. Then you only socialize and do business with only the people that behave like you. And then you eliminate the people who do not behave like you. You do not do business with the people who do not behave like you. And you build a world around you that revolves around you that is exactly the way you are. Yeah, it might be a small world, but it'll be a happy one. Because you're not going to be in a situation where you loathe the people that you engage. So that guy at the White House, billionaire, doing the stupid stuff that he does on TV, does that make me feel sad? Bro, I did not miss a wink of sleep for that. I didn't miss my podcast for that. I didn't miss work for that. I didn't miss all of the direct deposits of large quantities of cash that I was getting for that. I didn't miss paying any of my bills for that. I did not miss closing any of my real estate deals for that. I didn't miss any of my investment deals for that. That action that he did that shocked the world right after the inauguration on Monday or Tuesday had no effect on the rest of my week. Yeah, it gives me something to talk about with the rest of y'all. But did his gesture hurt me at all? No. The racist people that come out of the woodwork because of that gesture, will they hurt me? Not likely. If you are Second Amendment ready, when they come knocking on churches and walking in Walmarts acting radical, you got your equalizer. If you ain't get one since you seen Tuesday, you best to go get one because it's a 3-day delay. So you might as well go get one now. Take the time that it take to lock that in. That way you ain't got to worry about it, because if you don't, you're going to be in a situation where you wish that you did. It's better for you to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, is what I always say. Let's move on to the next one. We got a couple more.
Been a slow move toward.
I'm a 25 female and I recently posted in another subreddit about something I've been struggling with,
Okay.
and the responses were really thoughtful, so I wanted to bring it here to get more perspectives. I've been thinking a lot about how AI is changing relationships and human connection. I started using a companion chat called All My Love to create a custom AI companion, and honestly, it's been a game changer. It feels like I found a way to avoid all the struggles and disappointments that come with real relationships. But now I'm wondering if this is what I really want. If an AI can meet all my emotional needs, does that mean there's no reason to seek out real human connections? Or is this just the first step toward a future where relationships with real people won't even matter anymore? Has anyone else thought about this or had similar experiences? Do you think relying on AI like this could be a good thing?
Yes, and yes. So we are losing something in the process.
Or are we losing something important?
Let me get through that.
In the process.
Okay, there we are. Trying to get it where we needed to stop at. There we go. Now we're up to speed. So yes, they made that AI companion girl robot thing, which ironically, the first one they made was a female model for a number of reasons. They made the female model so that the men who are going to spend money on that are going to be the first ones that are going to start spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on each one of those $150,000 robots. Still cheaper than having a real life woman, but you have to understand that they got that companionship robot to replace the lack of companionship that they get from women. Now they're going to make a male version of that eventually for the women who are going to want to spend money on that. But you also have to understand that women don't make as much money as men because women don't work in the type of careers that men work in. So the women are not going to have as much accessibility to the capital to invest in a robot. Not to mention, women do not have to worry about a robot because they have more than enough men approaching them at this time. Now, if enough men start putting all of their attention into robots, then yeah, we will have a decline, but we already have a massive decline in social interaction in person because we have everyone building their avatar in social media and pretending like there's something that they're not on social media. And you are quick to increase your followership by sharing your social media details with somebody in person instead of giving them your real phone number so that they can text you or call you. You would give them your I don't feel like giving you my number. I'll give you my Snapchat. I'll give you my Instagram. Adding on to your followership, where this person now has to communicate with you on social media after you met them in person before you guys can chat long enough for you to give them your phone number for them to talk to in person after he met you in person. The fact is that I think the final nail in the coffin with social distancing was COVID, but we have become more dependent on our social media relationships than what we do with our in-person relationships. And if you throw AI in the mix, you will be completely eliminating social interaction. And you think that they're having population control problems in Asia. You're going to have massive population control problems worldwide if you have more humans, men and women alike, finding solace in getting an AI partner instead of dealing with the chaos that is humanity. Truth is, it's already hard enough because Americans don't like dating Americans because of how Americans treat each other. American men will travel the world to go and find better behaving women. American women is going to travel the world to find better behaving men, more financially stable men. Americans are leaving America to go find people in other countries that will be more of what we expect, but we are not behaving better in our own country, and we are not treating each other better in our own country, yet we expect better from our own country. How are we going to expect change without enacting change? How are we going to reinforce difference without being different? How are we going to break the stereotype without behaving outside of the stereotype? You can't get something new by doing the same old thing. So yeah, you're right. AI is probably going to topple the dating pool over time, especially when those robots start becoming more affordable, because $150,000 for a robot, you're talking about the top 1% of elite men who are making $500,000 a year to $1.5 million a year, where they can afford to drop $150,000 on a female Sarah Jane Chronicles robot kind of thing. And then they actually have a conversation piece, because some of them will actually parade their robot around and be like, look, I got one of those AI chicks. The rest of us, where $150,000 would take us 35 years to pay for it, we're going to be talking to one another. It's not going to be what you think. It's not going to be us trying to spend a bunch of money on no robot, when that $150,000 robot is as cheap as that $30,000 self-driving car. We might have more middle class and lower class individuals buying that robot. When a robot starts costing $25,000 and we're making $150,000 a year, we might be able to afford to get that robot. But right now, 2025, everybody broke, and them tariffs is about to make everything cost more money. And we're going to be getting a little bit more money on our paycheck, but we're going to be paying less taxes in advance, where we're going to be charged more taxes on the back end. It's not going to be as financially beneficial as we think it is, because inflation is about to happen. It's already happening, but it's going to happen even more, because poor people are going to have more money to spend, and those poor people are going to spend more money instead of saving and investing that money. All the money you're not paying taxes on over time, you should be throwing into stocks and bonds and real estate, Bitcoin, and trying to make you some wealth so that you can quit your job eventually and not have to work for nobody no more. But with a raise in income, because you're not paying so much taxes on the overtime hours, you are going to see more people catch up on their bills and then start having more fun, going on vacations, taking trips, buying new cars, upgrading their housing situation, buying more subscriptions. They're going to be wasting more money. So you're not going to see too many people being able to afford AI companions. But yeah, it is a thing that AI companions are going to make a big change, because AI has already taken over the workforce. So why not have AI take over the dating field? Let's go ahead. I think we got one more.
I feel like knowing my worth has made dating so much harder. I know this sounds conceited, but I feel like dating has gotten so much harder now that I've realized what a catch I am. I'm decently attractive, went to law school on a full ride, have a stable job, stable finances, good friends. I volunteer at least twice a month, and I'm in the process of commissioning my art after a few people expressed an interest in buying. I'm working towards being trilingual. People often comment on how charming and funny I am. I don't need someone who's 6 feet tall or wealthy. I just want someone emotionally available, intelligent, and passionate, with values that align with my own. I want someone who challenges and inspires me. Why is that so hard to find?
Because your ass don't follow instructions. You're not looking for somebody that you are going to be compatible with his agenda. You're not looking for somebody that you can help grow. You're not looking for somebody that you can help improve. You're not looking for somebody that you can formulate a compatibility with, where the both of you have the same ability to head in the same direction. You're looking for a man that's going to blend in with what you want to do. That's why you're not finding what you're looking for. Your education, your career status, and your good friends is the same thing that the last 12 women on the show tonight said that makes them valuable, but that makes you valuable to you. And those might be the qualities that you look for in a man. That might be what you value, but that's not what men value. Men don't value that. Men value assistance. Men value partnerships. Men value cooperation. You want a man that's going to challenge you. A man is not going to challenge you. A man is going to advise you. And the challenge is that you have to obey that advice. That's the challenge. A man is going to give you instructions on how to take care of him. A man is going to give you instructions on how to satisfy him and make him happy. And the challenge is that you have to obey those instructions. And not too many women are willing to do that. Just the words obey made like 5 women log off of the podcast. You have to understand that it is not. What can he challenge you with? Because if he's smarter than you and you won't let him teach you, what is he challenging you with? If he's as successful than you or more successful than you, what is he challenging you with? Because you're going to expect the man to pay for stuff. So what we're looking at inside and out, what we're looking at is women that want a man that challenges them are not looking for a man that is going to guide them and instruct them. They're just looking for a man that has leadership capabilities, but they don't want that man to lead. They want a leader to be conquered and then submit to her so that she can feel like she's got an equal. 2 leaders are not equal to each other. They are conflictual to each other. You do not have 2 kings in the same kingdom. You notice that the family tree hierarchy in royalty usually has one heir to the throne trying to off the other heir to the throne. They don't share the apprenticeship. They try to dominate each other so that only one of them has total control. Relationships are going to be the same way. You are not, if you are willing to lead from the rear, you are going to be able to lead after he's done leading. When he doesn't know what to do, you'll be able to take over. But you would have been able to observe the whole scenario, and then you are able to react and respond to the scenario as needed, as opposed to leading him and then expecting him to lead you. You want him to be your sword and shield, but you want him to follow you at the same time. Well, if your sword and shield is behind you, then your sword and shield is not going to take bullets for you. You're going to take bullets for your sword and shield. I've said this plenty of times before. Some of the most powerful people in this country, like the president of the United States, listens to 10 or 15 men tell him where to go, what to do, and when to do it his entire career. Actually, since he's become president the first time in 2017, even when he was the former president, in between his 2017 term and his 2025 term, he was still surrounded by CIA agents that told him where to go and where not to go his entire life. So for the past now 12 years will be, because he's already done this for 8 years. He's been doing what other men tell him to do for the past 8 years. And now as the president of the United States for the next 4 years, he's going to be doing what other men tell him to do. And this is a almost 80-year-old man that's a billionaire. If they tell him he can't go, he can't go. So if a billionaire is going to follow the instructions of his security team, why is the average woman not going to follow the instructions of the man that she elects to protect and provide for? If he says, sit down, sit down. If he says, be quiet, stop talking. If he says, come on, let's go, get your shit and let's go. Because that is how he can keep you safe. Now, a lot of women feel, I can protect myself. Right. Do you think that wife that got her husband shot at the campaign could protect herself from that bullet? No. He said, get down. She got down. He took the bullet for her. That is the dynamic of relationships where men are protectors and providers, where they lay their lives down for the women that are worth, they're supposed to do it for women that are worth them laying their lives down for. And these women are supposed to obey the men that are willing to lay them lives down for her. That is a mutual exchange. If you will die for me, I will follow your instructions. The same way the president follows the instructions of the CIA, because they will lose their life for the president. It is a mutual exchange. In order for me to be protected, I got to follow instructions. There's not much that we can do about that. We also have a lot of women that want men that'll take them shopping and buy stuff for them. The men are buying their entire wardrobe, but the men are paying for what the woman wants. The woman won't buy what the man wants her to wear. Then the woman is not going to wear the stuff that the man buys with the man. She's going to wear that when she's going out with the girls so that she can look sexy, talking about, I look cute. You are sexually attracting other men while you're going out for a ladies' night without your man, and he paid for your outfit to show off to other men. That makes no sense. Your man, if he's buying all your clothes, should be able to tell you what you should and should not wear. The same way when we were kids and our parents were buying us clothes and they told us what we could and could not wear. It's the same dynamic. Now, you want to be grown, you want to do your own thing. Stop asking your man to buy you stuff at the mall. Because if he can't tell you what to wear, he shouldn't be buying your clothes. If no man should be spending his money on nothing that he doesn't have control over. Because no woman is going to spend her money on nothing she don't have control over. That's uniformity. So if you do not want to be in a situation where you're being told what to do when you don't want to be told what to do, then instead of you expecting to find a man that's better than you to lead you and guide you and challenge you, you need to find you a man that's willing to follow your instructions, do as you say, and show up wherever you want him to show up, like a simp. You're probably going to be trying to find a man that is not together yet. You're probably going to find a man that's in his early 20s that will do as you say, yes, ma'am, you the whole way. As you're in your 30s, he's in his 20s. He will follow your lead because you already know what needs to be done. He's still lost because he ain't had no guidance. But for you to find a man that's in his 30s and 40s and sometimes 50s, who he got his shit together, you just decided to get your shit together, and now you're going to tell him how to run his empire. It took him 75% of his life to get his empire where it is right now. You think that you're going to move into that type of lifestyle, or you're going to control his empire? You're going to lost your damn mind. Even in chess, that don't work. You can't walk up on the queen, cannot walk up on the other king on the other side of the board talking about I'm going to run this kingdom. You either going to topple that king or somebody going to take you over. It ain't going to happen. You're not going to be able to go over to the other side of the board and say, I'm running your castle now. That don't work. That don't work. Even in chess, the queen sacrifices herself for the king. And the queen never makes the first move. She still has to follow the lead of the pawns that's set before her. So in no dynamic is it, outside of a matriarchy, where the women lead and the men fall on a sword. And in America, we are in a patriarchy. So the men are leading and falling on the sword. So in this patriarchy, it makes absolutely no sense for these alpha boss ladies to want the authority with no financial responsibility at the same time. It makes absolutely no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. I respect you, gangster. But if y'all want to see something better, like they got this new trend for 2025 where the women are just throwing it out there for clickbait that, oh, the men want to pay for the... No, the fuck we don't. Not one man that I know is eager to run out there and pay for your standard of living, and your ass ain't willing to behave like a wife out the gate. That's not happening. But I do know that, I mean, if you're like a 7 or an 8 and you're willing to put out, that they might pay a little bit of money for you for a one-night stand or two, friends with benefits. But again, it's the Rowley theory. Instead of them spending all this extra money to woo you on dates and stuff, they're just going to bring you some money, sleep with you, and then walk away. Buy you some gifts, sleep with you, and then walk away. But eventually, you're going to reach an age where your attraction is no longer be there. And when your attraction is no longer going to be there, you're no longer going to have the men desiring to give you some money and buy you gifts so that they can sleep with you. The traction is not going to be there. The traction and attraction are not going to be there. Menopause is going to kick in. Fertility is not going to be there. You are going to literally have nothing to bring to the table besides obedience. And if you don't have that, you won't be valuable at all. Because a man is going to need a woman to follow instructions, because what I need you to do so that I can go do this over here to make enough money to bring you some money, you've got to do that. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to be on this team. Coaches make cuts. It's a Super Bowl. You will not be drafted for the next season if you ain't following instructions this season. You feel me? We're not having them to go around. So we just got to change the way we're doing what we're doing. I just tell you, ladies, look at it like this. If you treat your relationship like a financial investment, if you treat it like a stock option, treat it like a business merger. You are a walking business. He is a walking business. You are valuable in your own right. He is valuable in his own right. When you get with him, y'all are merging two separate businesses together, and the person with the majority shareholding investment is the person that's in charge. Whoever's putting more meat in the game, that's the person who says who's cutting what steak. Okay? So if you want to be in charge, don't just be the breadwinner and keep your money in your pocket. If you want to be in charge, contribute financially and effort-wise. But don't be a tyrant, because you can be a financially successful woman. You can be a breadwinner where you're paying 2/3 of everything. Treat your man like shit, and he's going to leave you for a broke woman who will treat him like he's important. So you've got two tasks ahead of you. Follow instructions to treat your man like he's important, because he's supposed to be important. He's supposed to be important to you the way you are important to him. So never once, this is not a red pill podcast. I am not going to tell women that they are supposed to grovel at the feet of men. I am telling women that they are supposed to treat the men as good, if not better, than they expect the men to treat them, because that is the definition of mutual respect, followed by a little lanyard. There you go. A little bit of Southern, which is give a little extra. So at no point am I saying, oh, well, you're just supposed to be servitude. No, I'm just saying you are supposed to treat your partner equal to or better than you want them to treat you. And that goes for the men too. But you have to understand, ladies, by definition, good men, gentlemen, are treating their women better than the men are being treated, because they want their woman to treat them as good as they are treating their woman. But they're not finding women that are willing to do that. They're finding women that will accept it, say thank you. Some of them won't even say thank you and just walk away with receiving being treated like queens when they're not queens. They're peasants. The queens aren't behaving that way, but it's hard to find a queen, because while there are some single queens out there, there are more single peasants out there. Because the peasants are not wife material. The peasants are not girlfriend material. The queens are wife material. The queens are girlfriend material. They're just not married yet. So you have a diamond in the rough. You have one out of every 100,000, maybe more, that are worth marrying. And you have to find them out of a crowd of women that are not worth marrying. Women are going to say, oh, yeah, it's the same way about men. Probably so. But sweetheart, if you treat a man the way men treat women, talking about you pay for him from the first date, you show him how valuable you are from the first date, you're going to see commitment from that man sooner. You're going to see contribution from that man sooner. But if you just sit there with your hand out with a skimpy outfit and a smile on your face and you sleep with them after the third date, all you're going to find is a bunch of men that is looking for a good night. Because they'll put in 5 dates and get frustrated. But if you're looking for a lifetime companion, you're going to have to invest in that. You're going to have to invest in that. You're going to have to put in time. You're going to have to put in effort. You're going to have to put in some capital. The same way men have to put in time, effort, and capital. You alpha boss ladies that want to lead the pack, you are going to have to lead yourself into a partnership, which means you have to be willing to cooperate with your partner. Find out what he wants. Find out what he needs. Go get it, do it, make sure that he's satisfied with it. Because if you don't, you are going to be just like the cat lady that we were talking about earlier today, single, alone, miserable, tired of dating, tired of trying, and just going to make peace with being alone. But us men, look, we getting our money together. We getting our passports together. We're flying to a third world country. We're going to go grab us some women. We're going to fly them back to America, get them their citizenship. And with all the shit that they're doing with the EB2s and HB1s, But we might have to fly back and forth because we might be able to get her a visa, and it ain't even going to be a marriage visa at first. We might just have to get her like a tourist visa where she come here for 3 months and then we fly her back. And then we got to fly her back out for 3 months and we fly her back. And we got to keep doing that until we can get the marriage license. But if you can afford that $2,000 trip every 3 months, you know what I'm saying? You fly out there, you go get her, you fly her to America, you stay in America for 3 months, then you fly her back, and you stay out there with her for 3 months, and then you and her come back in 3 months where y'all have been together for 9 months now. Now you got that marriage visa. Because if they tell you, hey, it ain't happening this time, it's like, well, let's get a plane ticket. We're going to fly back to the Philippines, and we'll come back in a few months. We'll touch base. We're not going to separate from each other's side until they say yes. Because you got to remember, America recognizes marriage licenses in other countries. So if you fly to the Philippines to get married in the Philippines, you can still get citizenship. You can still get her citizenship in America. They recognize your marriage from another country. So you ain't got to get married on American soil. You just got to have the paperwork from the Philippines to show that you got married. And then you just got to wait. The same way everybody with the HB1s and EBWs are waiting for their citizenship. You just got to wait. But if you got that capital where y'all can fly back and forth, you can make it work. But you go out there to the Philippines, you got a woman that'll give you 20 years of her life before she give up on you. Here in America, you got a woman that'll give you 3 nights and then she'll give up on you. Some will give up on you on the first date. Some will give up on you before the first date. They'll ghost you if you don't say the right thing in the comment section. Make sure you like and subscribe. So think about it, ladies. Think about it. Because the men ain't going to keep putting up with it. The men are going to stop dating. The men are going to sit on their money. And the men are going to take the money they're not wasting on you. And they're going to fly to another country. And they're going to find them a wife. Even if it takes them 10 or 15 years, they will find them a wife. And then they're going to be happy for the remainder of their life. So if they stop at 30, if they stop playing these games with you at 30 and sit on that till they're 45, then they can go and find them a woman in the Philippines at 45 that'll live with them until they're 100. As opposed to them continuously going through the same vicious cycle in America with the women that ain't ready to settle down, and then the selfish women that are ready to settle down, but they're not still willing to be partners. Instead of dealing with all that, the men can just pull out of the dating game. And then the only men that'll be left in the dating game are the men that just want sex for the women, that don't want companionship, that don't want a wife, that don't want any type of commitment. They're just looking to mess around. Now that is going to be when the women are going to be miserable, because they're going to be treated like a price tag in a clearance section. But ladies, if you don't change the environment, you're not going to get better results. I've been telling the men for the past 2 years that if you don't change the environment, you're not going to get better results. So when I tell you the same thing, if you don't change the environment, you're not going to get better results. If the ladies keep behaving the way they're behaving, you're going to force all of the good men to retire out of the dating game. And the only men left in the dating game are going to be the men that are looking to catch as many women as they can catch, sleep with as many women as they can sleep with, and keep moving on. All the men that are looking for companionship are going to get tired of trying. And those men are going to park it and say, you know what? I'll wait, because I can get one woman from Vietnam. I can get one woman from Japan. I can get one woman from the Philippines. I can get one woman from Taiwan. I can get one woman from South Korea. And I can work towards that goal. I can get one woman from Cambodia, where the standard of living in those countries is $9,000 a year, instead of spending $70,000 a year in the United States trying to give an American woman a higher standard of living than what she could give to herself, just so that she could stand by my side. Not even if I can help me do my job. So think about it now, because the women in the Philippines will rebuild your car, rebuild your motorcycle, rebuild your washer and dryer. You can buy everything from IKEA and she'll put it together for you. They handy. They don't like paying people to do stuff for them. They'll do it their damn self. That's when your knowledge is valuable. You tell me that you got a law degree, you got this bachelor's degree in some other place, and you tell me, oh, well, you make it seem like, oh, you're so smart, and a man is supposed to value you for your smarts. Look, if you can fix everything around the house so that I don't have to be the handyman and I don't have to pay a handyman, you have smarts that are more valuable for your relationship than an American woman with 5 degrees that's trilingual. Because she ain't trying to fix nothing. She ain't trying to get her nails dirty. And she is not helpful. That's why we got microwaves, Shark vacuum cleaners, washers and dryers that self-wash, self-dry, self-clean, permanent press, iron the clothes, spit them out where they're one step away from going on a hanger. And that's why men are spending $150,000 on female AI robots to do all of the stuff that women don't want to do. Ladies, if y'all don't see a trend with the technology being built to replace what the women aren't willing to do because the women are starting to behave too much like men, y'all gonna miss the boat. Y'all gonna miss the boat. Because they didn't make the first male AI robot. They made the first female AI robot to replace what the technology is made to meet a demand that is not being fulfilled. So in order for billionaires to create a female robot that will be the companion that males need, that means that there is a demand for female companionship that does not exist in the current market. And that female companionship is valued at $150,000 a bot, which is approximately $15,000 a year for 10 years. So, ma'am, you trying to get $1,100 to $1,200 a month off of this man, you need to be dedicating your life to this man, because really $15,000 a year for 10 years, that's what 7,750 for 20 years, which is the average dating game. But that robot will never let him down and never disappoint him. As long as he take care of her, she'll take care of him. That's all I got for you guys for tonight. We got some stuff that we got to get into. So I want to thank you guys for coming to the show. Special shout out to Red Void, Omni81, Liberty Twitcher, Mr. Pibbs, Max the Poser, Joe, his father, Reese Martinez, Cody D. I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. Ladies, like I always say, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to please make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Y'all stay tuned for the outro song, Higher Ground. We got the album that came out in December. We have the links to the YouTube song as well. And we also have links for you to buy it with your Amazon Prime if you want to go download it for later playback offline. Also, we're going to be doing as many of the executive orders as possible tomorrow. And whatever we don't finish tomorrow, we're going to finish later this week, but we're going to get through all of them this week. We are live 7 nights a week, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock California time. As California continues to burn to the ground, we're going to keep giving you updates on that. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow.
Higher ground. Used to chase validation, now I validate That's my personal command. I'm not mounted on higher ground where excellence is found. My potential knows no bounds, raising the bar, breaking ground. I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never I'm not just living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.